In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on January 14, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets. As we provide these videos on a daily basis, I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Denver Nuggets versus Dallas Mavericks. The Denver Nuggets head into the American Airlines Center on Wednesday night to face the Dallas Mavericks, and this one has that weird mix of momentum versus chaos feel to it. The Nuggets are coming off wins over the Bucks and Pelicans, with the Wizards on deck, and they have taken 4 of their last 5 games. Dallas, on the other hand, has dropped 8 of its last 12, with a recent loss to the Bulls offset only slightly by a win over the Nets before the Jazz await them next. In terms of who is available, the write-up has the Nuggets still missing Christian Braun, Jonas Valanciunas, Nikola Jokic, and Cameron Johnson, while the Mavericks are said to have Anthony Davis, Max Christie, Derek Lively II, and Kyrie Irving ruled out, with P.J. Washington and Brandon Williams listed as questionable. So, at least on paper, both teams are framed as extremely banged up, although one side is clearly managing that supposed chaos better than the other. Here is the thing. The Nuggets are described as starting to get on a roll even without Jokic, and they would have taken a lot of confidence from that hard-fought win over the Pelicans last night. They keep finding ways to get over the line despite all the injuries mentioned, which says a lot about their system and their role players, even if the narrative feels a bit stretched. The Mavericks, by contrast, were absolutely ice-cold before they finally knocked off the slumping Nets on Monday, and that single win does not erase the larger trend of inconsistency and frustration. Denver does come in on the second night of a back-to-back, and that is usually a red flag, especially for a team framed as short-handed. Still, they continue to grind out results, and that is not something you can say with a straight face about Dallas right now. The Mavs, also portrayed as injured beyond belief, have failed to cover 7 of their last 9 games, which is a brutal run at the betting window. They have also lost 10 times at home this season, which undercuts any assumed advantage of playing in their own building. Yes, the Mavericks did beat the Nuggets last month, and that result lingers as a reminder that they are at least capable on the right night. But with this version of the team and this injury cloud, it is hard to lean on that single data point too heavily. So while the situation is not perfect for Denver, especially with the back-to-back, there is more to like in the way they are carrying themselves and finding wins than in the scattered pattern of the Mavericks. Given the form, the recent head-to-head memory is not enough to sway things, and the more convincing argument still sits with the Nuggets handling their business and coming away with another solid result. As our first pick for this matchup, the Denver Nuggets to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Denver Nuggets are averaging 122.7 points per game on 50.2% shooting from the field while allowing 117.5 points on 47.2% shooting. They are hitting 40.2% of their threes and connecting on 81.7% of their free throws. Defensively, they are allowing opponents to knock down 35.6% from beyond the arc and grabbing 43.2 rebounds per game. The Dallas Mavericks are averaging 113 points per game on 46.9% shooting and allowing 117.2 points on 46.2% shooting. From deep, they are shooting 33.8% from 3 and 75.7% at the line. On the defensive side, they are allowing opponents to shoot 33.1% from beyond the arc and pulling in 44.7 rebounds per game. When you line those profiles up, you get one team that is scoring at an elite clip with very efficient shooting percentages, and another that sits in a solid offensive tier but also gives back plenty on the defensive end. The Nuggets' combination of over 50% from the field and just above 40% from 3 is the kind of blend that can blow games open if those numbers show up even close to their averages. Dallas, while not shooting as well from deep, still has enough overall efficiency to contribute to an up-tempo, high-scoring environment, especially if they are chasing the game or trading buckets. Both sides allow opponents to score north of 117 points on respectable shooting percentages, which hints at a matchup where stops may come in short bursts, not long stretches. Rebounding numbers in the low to mid-40s for each team mean plenty of possessions, second chance looks, and repeated opportunities to score rather than long, drawn-out defensive battles. Free throw percentages in the mid to high 70s and low 80s also help, because late fouls are more likely to add meaningful points instead of empty trips. All those pieces together shape a game that has a very natural path toward a higher combined total, especially if the pace stays brisk and both offenses play to even a reasonable approximation of their season form. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. New York Knicks versus Sacramento Kings. The New York Knicks roll into Golden One Center on Wednesday night to square off with the Sacramento Kings, and this one has that strange mix of slumping favorite against even colder underdog feel to it. The Knicks are coming off a loss to the Suns and a win over the Trail Blazers, with the Warriors waiting next on the schedule. They have dropped 5 of their last 7 games, so even with that win over Portland, they are still trying to steady the ship a bit. Sacramento's recent stretch is somehow even rougher. The Kings have beaten the Rockets and the Lakers in back-to-back spots, and they get the Wizards after this, but those 2 wins sit inside a bigger run where they have lost 16 of their last 22 games. So you have a team that just now looks like it might be waking up after being stuck in a long funk. On the injury front as described, the Knicks are still said to be missing Landry Shamet and Guerschon Yabusele, while the Kings have Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis ruled out. Even with the wording that New York has not been playing anywhere near its best, that recent victory over a red-hot Trail Blazers team feels like a small reminder of what their ceiling looks like when their core guys are functioning. The idea is that, with their key players back healthy, they should turn things around sooner rather than later, and that is exactly how this number is being framed. The Kings, for their part, had been sliding through a 7-game skid before they finally punched back with that win over the Lakers in what is described as an inspired performance. The problem is that they just have not had enough of those games, the ones where they look locked in from start to finish. 2 nice outings do not erase a month or more of uneven, disappointing basketball, and that is what makes this handicap lean so heavily one way. Against the spread, the Knicks are 3-7 against the spread in their last 10, which is not exactly a bragging point. The Kings, meanwhile, have quietly won 2 straight games, so you can at least understand why someone might glance at the points and think there is a little value on the home side. Here is the catch, though. The Kings have played like a bottom-tier team for most of the season, and the feeling here is that they are more likely to slide back into that version of themselves than suddenly morph into a reliable contender just because of a tiny burst of good results. New York, on the other hand, has a very specific angle working in its favor. The Knicks are 8-0 against the spread in their last 8 games as a double-digit favorite. That includes a 4-0 against the spread record in that role this season. When they are expected to win big, they have not only handled business, they have covered consistently and comfortably. Head-to-head, the Knicks have won the last 4 games against the Kings by an average of 17.5 points, which is a huge gap. That kind of repeated dominance gives you a lot more confidence laying a big number because it shows a pattern of matchups where New York's strengths translate on the floor. So while the recent form for both teams has its wobbles, this looks like one of those spots where you set aside the small noise of a couple of Sacramento wins and simply trust the broader handicap that has been paying off in similar situations. As our first pick for this matchup, the New York Knicks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Knicks are averaging 120.5 points on 47.3% shooting and allowing 115 points on 46.6% shooting. They are hitting 38.1% from beyond the arc and 80.2% from the free throw line. On defense, they are allowing opponents to shoot 37.1% from deep and they are grabbing 46.2 rebounds per game. The Kings are averaging 109.8 points on 46% shooting and allowing a hefty 121.5 points on 49.5% shooting. From 3, they are hitting 34.2% of their looks and converting 75.8% of their free throws. They are allowing 35.5% from beyond the arc defensively and pulling down 40.6 rebounds per game. When you put those stats side by side, you get an interesting contrast. New York is clearly the more explosive offense on paper, with over 120 points per game and strong shooting splits, but they also keep opponents in check just enough that games do not always spiral into track meets. Sacramento, by comparison, scores fewer points on average and gives up more, and that gap between 109.8 scored and 121.5 allowed tells a story of a team that spends a lot of nights chasing the game. The shooting percentages matter here. The Knicks have a very healthy three-point percentage and an excellent free throw number, which usually helps drive totals upward, but their ability to control the glass with 46.2 rebounds per game can also let them dictate pace. If they are the ones deciding when to slow things down, value possessions, and lean on half-court sets, that higher offensive ceiling does not automatically translate into a breakneck tempo. The Kings' offense, sitting just under 110 points per game with weaker shooting from deep and at the line, is not quite the sort of engine that guarantees fireworks against a more disciplined opponent. Even though their defense allows a big number of points, their own inconsistency with scoring can drag the overall total back down if they struggle to keep up. Rebounding is another piece of the puzzle, as their 40.6 boards per game suggest fewer second-chance opportunities than the Knicks generate, which can quietly shave off a handful of possessions over the course of a night. So while one glance at the defensive numbers might suggest a free-flowing, high-scoring game, there is also a very real path where New York controls tempo, Sacramento sputters a bit on offense, and the combined score lands under the type of lofty total that would naturally be posted when one team allows over 121 points per game. In that kind of script, you still get a comfortable margin, just not a scoreboard that completely explodes. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Washington Wizards versus Los Angeles Clippers. The Washington Wizards head into the Intuit Dome on Wednesday night to take on the Los Angeles Clippers, and this matchup has lopsided on paper, written all over it, even if the injuries make you squint a little. The Wizards are coming off losses to the Suns and Pelicans, and they get the Kings next, which is not exactly a breather for a team that has dropped 33 of its last 44 games. That kind of run wears on a locker room, no matter how optimistic the quotes sound before tip-off. The Clippers, by contrast, are cruising. They have taken down the Hornets and Pistons in their last two, with the Raptors up next, and they have won 10 of their last 12 games overall. When a team strings wins together like that, even the role players start to look more comfortable, and everything from spacing to effort on defense tends to follow. According to the initial write-up, the Wizards are still missing Cam Whitmore and the newly acquired Trae Young, which only adds to the sense that they are in a holding pattern waiting for help to actually hit the floor. They have had some bright moments this season, but things have clearly gotten tougher since they moved on from C.J. McCollum, and they are still waiting on Young to make his debut, so the current version is a little short on proven firepower. On the Clippers side, they are said to have Bradley Beal, Derrick Jones Jr., and Bogdan Bogdanovic ruled out, with Kawhi Leonard listed as questionable, which paints the picture of a contender still having to juggle absences and late decisions. Even with that injury cloud, the Clippers have been one of the hottest teams around lately. They looked sharp and focused in that gritty win over the Hornets, the kind of game where a good team refuses to play down to a weaker opponent. That matters here, because you do not want a heavy favorite casually going through the motions in a spot like this, even if the opponent's record is awful. From a spread perspective, it always feels a little uncomfortable laying a pile of points when the injury report looks this busy. You would love a bit more clarity before committing to a big number, especially with Leonard tagged as questionable. However, the reality over the last month is that the Clippers keep winning and keep covering. They are 9-1 straight up and against the spread in the last 10 games against the Wizards, which is a remarkable level of dominance over one opponent. On top of that, they have covered 6 of their last 9 games as a double-digit favorite, which tells you that when the market asks them to win big, they often do exactly that. So yes, the injury cloud around Leonard makes the pick a little trickier emotionally, because nobody enjoys guessing on star availability. But when you compare where these two teams are right now, the Clippers are clearly the side in better form, with more structure and far more trust built in. The Wizards are one of the worst teams in the league. They are thin, and they are still waiting on a key piece to even appear. It is hard to rationalize stepping in front of a hot Clippers team with this Wizards group, which has been fighting uphill for weeks. As our first pick for this matchup, the Los Angeles Clippers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Washington Wizards are averaging 113.2 points on 46.1% shooting and allowing a massive 124.7 points on 47% shooting. From beyond the arc, they are hitting 36.2% of their threes and converting 75.5% from the free throw line. Defensively, they are allowing 37% shooting from deep and grabbing 44.3 rebounds per game, which quietly tells you that opponents are getting good looks and plenty of chances. The Los Angeles Clippers are averaging 112 points on 47.4% shooting and allowing 113.6 points on 46.8% shooting. They are knocking down 36.7% from three and an excellent 84% at the free throw line. On the defensive side, they are allowing 36.7% shooting from deep and pulling in 40.4 rebounds per game. When you line those numbers up, you see one team that gives up 124.7 points per game and another that concedes 113.6, so neither side is exactly locking down opponents. The Wizards' combination of poor defense and decent shooting from outside creates a lot of high-scoring environments simply because they play fast enough and defend lightly enough to keep the scoreboard moving. The Clippers, with their strong efficiency from the field and elite free throw percentage, do not need a huge number of possessions to pile up points, especially against a defense that already struggles. Rebounding plays its part too. Washington's 44.3 boards per game suggest enough volume on missed shots to generate second-chance opportunities, while the Clippers' 40.4 boards still give them enough presence to spark transition or early offense when they do control the glass. Both teams shoot well enough from three to benefit from any defensive lapses on the perimeter, and late-game fouling becomes more meaningful when one side is hitting 84% from the line and the other sits in the mid-70s. So if this game follows the pattern suggested by the numbers, you are looking at a matchup where one team regularly gives up huge point totals and the other has enough offensive efficiency to take advantage of that, while still allowing enough on the other end to keep things honest. That kind of blend naturally leans toward a higher aggregate score rather than a slow, methodical grind, especially if the Wizards' style nudges the tempo upward and the Clippers simply play to their averages. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.